Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we're doing part 2 of the story I covered earlier, all about the 3 guys that found out that all 3 of their wives were cheating on them. Cheating on them on girls' nights, and in the story, it left off where the one guy was just about to open his wife's phone to open Pandora's box to see all what she's been up to. And of course, as you all recall, this guy's wife was denying everything, making him out to be crazy, as did the wife of the guy telling the story here. And we're going to pick up where things left off. I don't want you to do a recap because you all saw this. And if you didn't see this, go back and watch the first one. So, picks up, says here, Steve went through her text. He asked who Jacob was. Jesse started crying harder. This is like a total replay of the original story. He spent some time reading her text and announced that Jacob thinks Jesse has a great ass. Jacob says he loves it when Jesse walks around wearing just the top. He looked at Jesse. She couldn't look at him. He looked at her text some more. Who's Charlie? Jesse was really wailing now. He told Jesse that Charlie seems to think you give the best BJs. He loves it that you're so adventurous. Not many girls would do 2 guys together in the bar bathroom. Oh my God. Remember this guy. Remember this guy's the bad guy for wanting to go through her phone and she's denying everything? He says, oh good. He includes pictures in his text. He opened one of the pictures. Steve said, here's Jessie on her knees in the men's room smiling for the camera for a guy's knob in her mouth. Another guy a few feet away was pissing in the urinal. He looked at Jessie and said, oh, very classy. He opened the second picture and said, here's Jessie smiling. She's still in the bathroom. Steve said it must have been after she finished both of them. He asked Jessie how she got all that out of her hair. Or did she walk around that way proudly showing everyone what her real talent is? How these guys manage to keep it together, I guess they're just in such a state of shock. They're not melting down here. Or they're just calm guys. How nice is that? The first picture he sees is a picture of that dude's you-know-what in her mouth. He'll be like, well, here's a great one for the Christmas card, guys. We'll save this picture with my dear wife with a big freaking sausage in her mouth. That'll be for the Christmas newsletter. You know, we have the kids. We'll say our son, Bob, he got straight A's on his report card recently. We'll say our daughter, Melissa, just had her first ballet recital. And here's a picture of my wife with a giant hot dog in her mouth. Happy New Year, everyone. Steve stared at Jessie, waiting for her to say something. She said she was so drunk, she didn't remember any of that. One of the problems with having a guy buy you drinks is that you get really drunk. So drunk, you don't know what you're doing, remembering anything. Blame it on the alcohol. Yeah, I've been around people that have had drinks, a lot of drink, and they weren't in the bathroom with these dudes' packages in their mouths. James says it sounds like getting drunk was a feature of their girls' night out, not some problem. Jesse looked down and said they got drunk a lot. He continued looking at her text. James said BJ Charlie wants to know when he can see her again. Okay, I see you already told him to come here to my house at 10 a.m. Monday morning. She's another one cheating in the house. And those girls, I guarantee, are all comparing notes and showing their different guys and talking about their adventures. And I'm guessing all 3 of them don't have jobs. And trying to have the best of both worlds. James continued studying her text and said, Richard wants to take you away for the weekend. He says Jessie always has to leave right when they're done. Richard wants to spend the whole weekend with her. He looked at Jessie and asked if that's why she wants to go to her sorority reunion next weekend. He kept scrolling through her text and asked her just how many guys is she hooking up with. Jessie was sobbing so badly, now she couldn't talk. Oh, we got another Tuscan Raider on our hands. After she calmed down some, she asked Steve if they could talk. About what? Can James and I leave so she could explain? Hobag Handbook, Chapter 2. Steve said, please explain. He's sure that James and I would also be fascinated by what she has to say. Jessie says it doesn't concern them. Bullshit. Your friends were around for your adventure, so my friends can be around to hear this. She could explain but wanted James and me to leave. Yeah, because she knows darn well that James and Steve here, I forget there's so many names in this story I keep forgetting, but she wants the 2 dudes to leave so she can just cry and carry on and all that. No, we're not going to leave this guy alone. So she can make up a bunch of shit. Steve said James and I were staying. Here's her one chance to explain. She better be completely honest, and I rolled my eyes. Jessie saw me roll my eyes and asked me if I thought she wouldn't be honest. I didn't say anything. She looked at Steve and told him he already knows the worst. Why would she lie now? She has nothing left to lose by lying. Steve has seen her texts. There's nothing more dreadful than those. And these dumbasses keep this on their phone because what they do is they look at it and it's exciting, like little girls sneaking around and fooling their parents. It's what they really are. Little fucking girls. And yes, I compare women to behaving like children because think about it. Children are overwhelmingly 100% run by their emotions. Women are run by their... There are some exceptions. Some can go into logic mode here and there, but generally emotions run the show here and act ridiculous. And these are the ones that should be leading the marriage, taking leadership roles when they can behave like this, let the emotions take over, and not to mention the bullshitting going on here. God sakes. Jessie saw me roll my eyes and asked me if I thought she wouldn't be honest. I didn't say anything. She looked at Steve. I read that part. Jessie sighed and said it started as an innocent competition among 3 wives. Innocent, huh? They went for girls' night the first time about 4 years ago. After about 30 minutes, they were bored. Sure, they could do some drinking, but all 3 of them talk to each other all the time. They didn't need to be in a bar to do that. Fran was talking about going home. Jessie said she was ready to leave too. Girls' night was not exciting and fun, just boring. Because your families should be your number one priority. That's what should be your priority. Not having fun and convincing yourself. And by the way, they're all like 33 now, and they're early mid-30s. So if this started 4 years ago, right around when they turned 30. What happens when women turn 30? They know darn well that in terms of the marketplace, physically, that number means they're not as in demand as they once were. The prime ends at 30. I mean, the prime is in the late teens and 20s and all that. So now all of a sudden, we need to make sure we still got it. Attention and validation. Liv said that she had an idea. They'd have a competition. Whoever is first to get a guy to buy her a drink wins the competition. They'll split up and get a guy to buy them at least one drink. Jessie asked what they'd win. Liv said bragging rights until the next girls' night. Or a roll in the hay with a guy if that's what they wanted. So they're blaming it on Liv. I actually kind of believe that Liv, because Liv is the one who, with James, was like, yeah, I'm cheating. Okay, I'll leave right now and you can have the kids. So I do actually believe that part, that she is the ringleader of this. But it doesn't matter because these 2 asshole wives went along with it. That one part I actually buy. Or a roll in the hay if they want. That was so ridiculous a suggestion, and they all laughed. They were faithful to their husband. A roll in the hay with some guy was unimaginable. Bullshit. They're all fucking cheaters. I don't buy it for a second, but I do believe that Liv was definitely the ringleader. I spent the rest of the night talking about how they would do it. Should they split up? Yes, in the same bar for safety, but not together. More likely, some guy would approach a woman if she's on her own. Fran asked if she would leave their wedding rings on. Jessie thought they would be more approachable if the guys thought they were single. Liv thought that if the guy saw the wedding ring, that he'd be more likely to want to hook up. No big drama about seeing each other again since she was married. Guys wanted to hook up with married women. She'd be wearing her wedding ring too. Both Fran and Jessie opted to take off their rings. The next girls' night, they put their plan in action. They went to a bar, split up, and Jessie was the first to get hit on by a guy. He bought her a drink and then another. After a while, she told him that she'd leave and meet with the other 2 outside. Jessie was high on her victory. She was high on the attention and validation now that she's in her 30s. She loved the attention, what I just say, and made sure the others knew she was way more desirable than they were. Bragging rights. Well, this is Jessie telling how this all started, and this is from her perspective that this guy's writing this whole thing down. Women in competition. The next time, Liv took off her rings like the other 2. None of them ever wore their wedding rings again on a girls' night. They were in their pocketbooks the minute they left home. Their big problem was remembering to put the rings back on before they got home, remembering they were married. Meanwhile, all 3 of these a-holes have husbands, have children, but all this so they can get their kicks too. And I'm guessing that these 2 other guys married their wives really early. Oh, and by the way, as if it isn't obvious, guys, girls' night, girls' weekends. You want to do that stuff? Come over to the house where your husband's there. Maybe the husband can be barbecuing with the two other husbands or whatever. But doing this, after a few weeks, they were getting bored again. A guy will buy a girl a drink sitting alone at the bar if she's halfway decent and will talk to him. It was an investment the guy was made hoping to get her in the sack. Who won had more to do with where they were sitting at the bar and how desirable they were. All of them were desirable. They had to do something more exciting. Guys, don't buy women drinks at the bar. And if a woman says, aren't you going to buy me a drink? Like, no, you can buy me one. And have a smirk on your face and see what she says. Nice guys buy women drinks at the bar. I haven't bought a woman a drink in Lord knows how long. And I never will. Fran came up with the idea that they won the competition if they could get the guy to keep buying her drinks over a period of time. How would that work? The guy had to buy drinks for at least 2 hours. The winner had to keep him interested in buying drinks for that long. Little hustlers. That meant the girl had to be flirty and seductive for 2 hours. 2 problems. The guy might realize too soon that this was going nowhere. He might give up and look to hit on some other girl. How to keep him interested in buying drinks for 2 hours. The second problem was they couldn't keep returning to the same bar. They'd get a reputation as teases who weren't going to put out. The second problem was easy. There were plenty of bars, but how to keep the guys buying drinks. I'd like to know how far these bars are from the homes of these guys and depending on where they live, because eventually people will start talking. That's an issue I have with this. They must have gone pretty far and must live in a very, very busy area to pull this off. They figured each wife would sit alone at the bar. A guy would approach and buy her a drink at the bar. She'd take him to a booth or table, a more intimate setting, like being on a date, making it harder for him to walk away. She'd keep him there buying drinks for 2 hours, then get up and leave. Liv was the first winner of the new competition. Liv led her guy to a booth and he stayed and bought drinks for 2 hours. Fred and Jesse picked up guys but both their men gave up after less than an hour. Liv won because she kept touching her guy. She put her hand on his upper thigh and left it there. He had his arm around her most of the time. When he kissed her, she returned the kiss and put her head lovingly on his shoulder. He put his hand on her thigh and kissed her again, a long kiss. They went on way longer than 2 hours. Fran finally went up to Liv and said it was time to leave. They had to get home. Liv sighed, kissed him again, and said she'd see him next time. I don't care if anybody... I do, again, think Liv is the ringleader here, but it doesn't matter. These two bitches went along with this. And still, just by simply flirting with other guys, having them buy drinks, they're cheating. So even at this junction, even at this state, if this part of the story is true, they're still cheating, and in my opinion, divorce is warranted. When they got outside, Liv said she liked him and didn't want to leave. She wanted to get a hotel room, and Liv admitted she was tempted. Or he wanted to get a hotel room. Both Fran and Jesse yelled at her. This was innocent fun. They were just playing. This was not innocent fun. And I like how the girl telling the story is making her out to be the hero here. We yelled at her and said not to do this. Bullshit. He says they said they weren't cheaters. Liv says she was just kidding. She was faithful to her husband. She was just having some fun with the guy. That's not being faithful. Bullshit. If their husbands were out at bars doing the same thing with girls, had their arms around girls, these women, if they were loyal and loving, would be losing their mind and have a right to. But Liv set the model for all of them. She could get all guys to stay buying if the girls were flirty, seductive, and kissed and touched the guys, and allow the guys to kiss and touch them. The wife spent a lot of time talking about how far it would go with the guys who bought them drinks. They each had their stories. Fran spent one night in a booth sitting on a guy's lap, him squeezing her ass. Fran told them later that him squeezing her ass was nothing. She was pretty sure he touched every inch of her body. Oh, let me guess, that's not cheating. But when he tried to put a hickey on her neck, she got up and left. Oh, well, it's nice she has standards and boundaries here. She couldn't come home with a hickey. I would ask too many questions that she didn't have answers for. Once, as soon as Liv got him to the booth, the guy took her hand and put it on his package. She left it there. She said it was a big one, and with her massaging it through his pants. Is this Lauren Boebert? It just got bigger and bigger, and she wondered if it was going to stain his pants. Liv thought it would be entertaining, but before he got there, he took Liv's hand away. One guy put his hand up Jessie's short dress, stroking her thigh. They were in a booth, so no one could see. He kept moving his hand until he hit home. He started caressing her with his fingers. He yanked her dress up over Jesus, this is turning into freaking PORN. I hope YouTube doesn't flag this. Jessie pulled his hand away and fixed her dress. She let him go too far. They'd all gone too far. She left the guy in the booth and sat alone until the other wives were ready to go home. She told them in the car that they'd gone too far with this. Oh, well, it's nice to hear that Jessie, the girl who he had found pictures with a freaking knob in her mouth, is the hero in this story, saying, we've gone too far. Interesting, because Jessie is telling this story. She was giving up girls' night. No more. Over the next week, the other two convinced her to continue. Oh, Jessie's the victim here. Jessie looked at Steve and said she knew what they were doing was wrong, but it was too exciting to give up. No one was getting hurt. It was like they were just sleeping with the other guys. Steve asked how they got away with doing this in the bar in front of other people. That's what I've been wondering here. Jessie said they found bars that were dimly lit. The ideal bar had a fairly bright bar area so they could see the guys who approached them, but the rest of the room was darker. That's why getting the guys in the booth was so important. The table would hide much of what they were doing, just not the kissing. But no one was going to come clean to them and tell them to stop kissing. The girls encouraged each other and pushed each other to go further and further. They each brought the sexiest, most revealing dresses they could find, another competition. They had to change into and out of the dresses in the car. They couldn't wear them at home, their husbands would freak out. I was wondering about that, and I'm not surprised they went out in one outfit, changed in another one, then that whole thing. Like teenage girls doing that. You know, a teenage girl wants to go out, and her mom is like, you're not leaving our house dressed like that. And she's like, okay. And has to change of clothes in the car or at the place. So they all knew that they could keep a guy buying them drinks if they let the guy kiss them and touch them while they also kissed and touched the guy. Girls' nights were exciting and fun. The three wives spent much of the week talking about their past encounters and talking about their girls' nights out. What'd I tell you? Gossip, gossip, gossip. They were careful about what they said in front of their husbands, but their husbands never looked at their phones, so texting was not a problem. Their husbands never got suspicious. As long as no one knew they came to the bar and saw them with a strange guy, they could do with this forever. This went on for nearly a year until Liv wanted to up the stakes again. Even if this was true about Liv wanting to do all this, they've been cheating since day one of this, when they started doing this whole thing. And they all deserve to go down. Well, they've been going down, but go down in a different way. Both Fran and Jessie said they were having fun doing what they were doing. Why mess up a good thing? Liv said they could all continue what they're doing, but maybe add a little more excitement. Liv said let's have the guys get a hotel room for the night. Go with them to the room, and then insist the guy take off his clothes first. Maybe say she needed to use the bathroom. Once he was naked, say goodbye and leave the room. He can't chase after her after all because he doesn't have any clothes on. Fran asked how they would get to know each other with the two wives were. Fran asked how would they know that the other two wives were actually getting a guy to take off his clothes. Fran suggested they take a picture of the guy after he was naked. Make sure the picture included his more interesting parts. They could compare their guys. They decided that once each of the guys got a room, they text each other the room number as a safety measure. Oh my God. They would set a time when they meet back at the hotel lobby. If a wife wasn't there on time, they knew there was a problem. They text first, but they didn't get a response. They would go to the room and bang on the door. They all liked the idea and began discussing how it would work. They'd have to go to the bars and hotels. If they met a guy in the bar and left for the hotel, the guy would choose the hotel. He's paying for safety reasons. They need to all be at the same hotel. Kiss them, play with them, promise them all sorts of delights, get them to get a room, get their clothes off, take a picture, and leave. Yeah, guys, this is going to be a memorable story. Most of the guys they met in hotel bars are traveling and already staying in the hotel. Liz said it's okay if he already has a room. Just get him out of his clothes. Take the picture and leave. Always stay between the guy and the door. Get the guy to lie down on the bed, and if he's lying down, it's hard for him to catch you before you get out the door. They all agreed to try it. They'd compare notes and laugh about their adventures. It was more risky, so even more exciting. They discussed how to get the guys naked. Fran said her technique is to tell the guy to undress while she was in the bathroom. When he was naked, she'd come out of the bathroom and tell him she wanted to look him over. Lie down on the bed, Fran would inspect his parts, comment on his strengths and weaknesses, take his picture, and run out the door. Jessie said she did the same. Went to the bathroom while he undressed, wanted to see how big he could get before she left. She'd tell the guy she wanted him to lie in the bed and play with himself. She told him it was a real turn-on for her. So she stood by the bed, fully dressed, and watched him, then took the picture and ran out the door. How many of you guys are willing to barf, throw something? Oh my God. How many of you gals, the 4% of you that watch me because you know this type of shit goes on, or you loathe feminism, or you don't want your sons to end up with people like this? How many of you are disgusted with this whole thing? It continues. Liz said she was more proactive. She told him to stand while she took off his clothes. If he tried to take off her clothes, she told him to stop. He had to wait until she got his clothes off. Once she had him undressed, she pushed him down the bed and also did an inspection. Then she would get him all aroused. When he was finishing, she took his picture and left. He was not in any condition to chase her. James asked if Liv was actually giving these guys hand action. Jesse said that's what Liv said. Fran also started to do that. It kept the guy happy until they took his picture. They didn't like their pictures taken. If the guy was just naked, he might be able to catch them before he got out of the room and grab her phone. But if the guy was... let's see. I can't think of the word. I gotta watch what I say. If the guy was finishing, Old Faithful, if you will, he would not be able to chase them. The wives spent hours during the week comparing pictures of their guys, comparing the guys to their husbands, and talking about what the guys did and said. Liv suggested they all take pictures of their husbands so the wives can compare their husbands to the hotel guys. And to each other, they all found this hilarious. Remember all the wives saying how they love their husbands so much, and all this bullshit that they were feeding, except for Liv. Liv was just like, okay, yeah, I'm cheating, goodbye. You can keep the kids. But Jesse and Fran. Divorce, 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 burn in hell, you a-holes. James asked her if they took pictures of their husbands. Jesse said it took some time, but they all got pictures of their husbands. So your husbands just were more sausages to compare. Jesse looked down. Steve told Jesse to continue her story. This went on like this for a while, but they were running out of decent hotel bars. They didn't want to run into the guy after they left the room, so they were always trying to find new places. They began talking about forgetting the hotel room stuff, just to go back to drinking and fooling around with guys in the bar. Lived up the stakes again. They met for girls' night at a hotel bar they hadn't been to. They all found guys who wanted to take them to their rooms. The meetup time was midnight. Jesse finished early, around 11:30 p.m. She was in the lobby bathroom, hiding in case her guy came down to the lobby. She kept peeking out, looking for Liv and Fran. Fran came next, and then Jesse. They waited for Liv, and waited. At 12:30, they texted her, no response. They went to her room and knocked on the door. Liv came to the door butt naked. Behind her was the naked guy lying in the bed. Liv told them she's staying with the guy. She'll tell James, her husband, she's got too drunk to drive and she got a hotel room. The girls could have taken her home, but she was so drunk and she just wanted to sleep. She was afraid she'd get sick in the car, so she got a room. Make sure she tell James the story if he says anything. Jesse told Liv to make sure she take the guy's picture. I looked at James. He was shaking his head slowly in disbelief. He asked when this was. Jesse thought a while and said about a year ago, maybe longer. He asked if these guys were all one-night stands. Jesse said Liv was still seeing the guy she stayed with for the first time. He traveled here in business fairly often. Liv always met up with him. If Liv told James she's staying overnight with her sister or her parents, if she tells him she was staying overnight anywhere for any reason, she's with that guy for the night. Liv also had another lover she's been seeing regularly who lives there. Fran also had a regular guy for the last year or so, but she also has flings with guys she picks up at bars. They still did occasional girls' nights together to meet new guys. I said that Jessie was really throwing her friends under the bus telling us all this. Jessie says that we're here because her so-called friends ratted her out. She owes them nothing. No honor amongst thieves. I don't care. You're all pieces of garbage. I said that Jessie was really throwing her friends under the bus. She says she owes them nothing. Steve asked Jessie if she had a regular guy. She says she doesn't see anyone regularly. She gets rid of them after a few weeks. She didn't want a boyfriend. Steve was the only one she cared about. Yeah, I can tell through your actions how much you care about me, sweetheart. Oh yeah, and your wonderful picture of you with the guy's sausage in your mouth, on your knees, in the bar, and in the background you can see a guy staying in at the Ural doing his business. Oh, that's definitely going in the Christmas newsletter this year, honey. Steve said he knew Jessie cared about him. He could see it in her eyes in the pictures of her in the men's bathroom. Jessie started sobbing. Steve told Jessie to continue, but James' phone rang. He said it was Liv. He answered on speaker. Liv was crying. Between sobs, she told James that she made the biggest mistake of her life, leaving him. She loved him and wanted to remain married. She was sorry for everything she's done. She wants to come home and now talk. Yeah, while she was out figuring out her bullshit story. She left because he was so angry and she was afraid. Not that her husband would ever harm her, but she couldn't face the fact that she had hurt him so much. Yeah, I can tell. She left because she didn't want to see the hurt in his eyes. Yeah, because she's so caring. Can she come home so they can talk? James told her to go fuck herself and hung up. Haha, good for you, James. I know you watched the show. Jessie shook her head and said she guessed that Liv's regular guy wanted her for fun, but not for good. But she and Fran kept warning Liv that he would cut and run if Liv pressured him for more than just hookups. I guess he threw Liv out when she arrived with the good news that they can now be together all the time. That's how Chad and Tyrone roll, Liv. Jessie looked at me and said that Fran's boyfriend has been trying to get Fran to leave me for him for months. Fran tells him that she wants to stay with me, but if Fran goes to him, he'll take her in. I told her I really don't care anymore what Fran did. Yeah, knock yourself out. Go have fun, Fran. James asked Jessie how they went from running out of the hotel rooms to staying. Jessie says it was inevitable. Liv staying with the guy was the tipping point. Again, it's Liv's fault for what we did. Once Liv did it, they all understood that is what their activities had been leading them to. It was the obvious next step. SCX with men they've been reading was going to happen sooner or later. Monkey see, monkey do. Their husbands had no idea how they were spending their Fridays. They'd been doing everything short of screwing with random guys for years, and their husbands were clueless. If their husbands knew what they'd been up to doing so far, they would have thrown their wives out already. Banging the guys was not all that different from their behavior up until now. The husbands would never find out. Liv was not struck by lightning when she left the hotel room. She just had more fun than the other two wives. Jessie and Fran wanted more fun too. Even more risky and exciting. And they no longer had to hide it from the guys they would run out on. They were exchanging numbers with them now instead. It's like a drug. People start on drugs, and then eventually they need more of that drug, or different type of drugs to give them more of the excitement and the high. Jessie said she wasn't going to say any more. The husbands could fill in the blanks for themselves, or talk to their wives. She wanted James and me to leave, and she'll answer any questions Steve has. She started crying again. She loves Steve and wants to stay married. Fucking delusional. The problem is, the wives' perception of all three of the husbands is that these husbands have not known all these years, so they're stupid, they're weak, they're nice, all that. So with enough begging and pleading and crying and promises that eventually they'll key. That's the perception these women have of their husbands. And I guarantee you, each of these husbands would buy into that bullshit, whether it took them a day to buy into or a year. Eventually, these wives would even have less respect for these husbands and would be back to doing this bullshit eventually. Guaranteed. It is over. She says she'll never do anything like this again. No more girls' nights. She'll spend the rest of her life trying to make it up to me. She'll change. Just give her a chance. She was crying, pleading with Steve. Steve told her to pack up and leave. They're divorcing. She said she's not leaving. They need to talk and figure out a way through this. Steve told her to get out. He'll leave if she did not. She was adamant about not leaving. Steve finally said, "Oh, right. Jessie has an appointment with Mr. BJ on Monday. She has to be here for that." He asked Jessie if she took credit cards. It was at all cash business. Did she charge by the hour or by the act? Were the tips good? Was there a group discount? Jessie picked up her phone and started typing. She sent a text. She told us that she told the guy that if he came to the house, she'll call the police and have him arrested. Oh, wow, I feel so much better. Never contact her again. Jessie said she's going to send the same text to all of them. How many all are we talking about, sweetheart? Then she said that Steve can just take her phone and keep it. She didn't need to talk to anyone but him. She'll use the phone only when he is with her and says it's okay. Steve asked her why he would want her phone. He doesn't need to look at her dick pics. He told her to leave, and that was that. Or he was. They are divorcing. She said she's staying. He got up to pack some things. Jesse curled into a ball on the couch weeping. James and I waited for Steve, and we left together. Holy fucking shit. This is crazy. And sadly, not surprising to me at all. That's how numb I've become. I think I got almost 2,500 videos between all three channels. Yes, I'm numb. Nothing surprises me or shocks me. All this took place 2 weeks ago. Oh my God. We are all divorcing our wives. We are using the same lawyer. James, Steve, and I talk regularly. We all had STD tests right away. No STDs. Oh my God, I know that's possible. Both James and I will probably have DNA tests on our kids. We're both struggling to actually get the DNA test done. We're afraid of the results. You gotta do it, man. I know it's killing you, the uncertainty, but you gotta know. We keep each other strong by staying there for each other. Easy to weaken, easy to think about taking our wives back. Easy to think maybe she's changed. But the other husbands won't allow any backsliding by the other two. Good. You guys need to be with each other. And I, by the way, can't imagine the lawyer when you walked into his office and you all three told him your story. I mean, he's just probably like, even that a divorce attorney was probably like, wow, this is new. We also all watch SSM videos for support. Steve doesn't talk to Jesse at all. James and I have contact with our wives only about our kids. Our lawyer does the rest. Dude, bros, keep watching these videos every fucking day, because otherwise you'll start slipping. And I will smack the fucking bejesus out of every one of you motherfuckers if you even think about going back with your wives and buying into their bullshit. They're full of shit. Your women are evil. I don't care if Liv made them do it. They're evil. End of story. I'm just so sorry that two of you bros have kids with these freaking harpies. Here's what I've learned. Wives will either cheat or they won't. If your wife cheats, you'll either find out or you won't. But if your wife tells you she's going out for a girls' night or girls' only vacation or drinks with the girls, you just found out. She's telling you she's cheating already or will cheat on you. Couldn't be clearer unless she tells you outright she's effing other men or that she wants an open marriage. If Fran, Liv, or Jesse really just wanted to drink or be with the girls' nights, they would have done it at my house. That's what I've been saying all along. I got no problem if maybe once a month the girls come over, they have drinks, they hang out at the house, have some steaks, have whatever the hell they take out from the local Mexican joint. I don't know what. Watch movies, gossip, fine. There's no need to do all that in these shitty bars and all that type of things with men that are dying to F them if they're remotely attractive. A mother, as well as a husband, number one priority should be their families, their spouses, their kids, not this shit. And if they wanted, having a hard time leaving the single life behind, they shouldn't have gotten married. He says if they wanted to do that, they could have done it at my house. I'll buy the liquor and make myself scarce. Why go to a bar or club or out on a vacation without their husbands? The only reason they exclude their husbands is because their husbands will get in the way of them hooking up with other men. There's no other reason. If she tells she's gone for girls' night or going on a girls' vacation, tell her to go find a lawyer. You just found out your marriage is over. And that, gentlemen, is the end of the story thus far. Holy shit. Guys, I wasn't kidding. This is going to be a memorable one. And this will be a video will be seen many, many times. Guys, I know all three of you watch me. I'm sorry this happened. I really am. I can't imagine how you feel, betrayed, hurt, humiliated, all those things. I mean, for two of you, this is the mother of your kids, and you're going to have to see her forever, essentially, until she drops dead. But you know what? As in all my other stories, you're young. You're in your 30s. You have your whole lives ahead of you. Divorce these assholes and never look back. And the only business you have with them is dealing with the kids. Do not communicate with them in any way. All communication goes through the lawyer, except obviously about the kids. That's it. Don't give them anything. And make sure your kids know the truth. Make sure your family and friends and the next door neighbor and anybody else, the UPS driver that will listen, knows the truth. Do not let these girls control the narrative at all. They will destroy you. I don't know where you live. I don't know if it's an at fault or a no fault divorce, whatever. that type of state, but I wish you the best. And even if you have to take a hit because you've been married for a while, it's worth it. You can't be with them. And I guarantee you, they're going to be crying and carrying on literally to the moment that you have the final meeting with the lawyers and you're signing the papers there. You're going to get the full waterworks and the Tuscan Raider talk and all that type of thing. Don't fall for it. And I might add, gentlemen, if you have any family members that try to give you some bullshit that you should forgive your wife and take her back and some other of your kids or any of that type of thing, do not fall for that. And you will probably hear it from someone. It's not their goddamn business. They're not walking in your shoes. It's your life, okay? And then you can slowly start to rebuild. All three of you guys can be a support group for each other to take it one day at a time. And you're gonna your emotions are gonna be on a goddamn roller coaster because you're gonna be thinking. I bet you guys are gonna be out walking around every day thinking, "Did that guy fuck my wife? Did my wife suck that guy's? You know what?" That's inevitable. But one day at a time. You got a whole community here. They're going to hear your story. Guys are going to be cheering you on to get past this and move on. And you're helping other guys. So I appreciate you sending in this humiliating story. But here's the deal, guys. You guys, your prime is really beginning in your 30s. Your wise prime, going down as they've been going down. Sorry, I had to say it. I want you guys to, if you don't work out already, start exercising. You will feel better. Even if you have to walk through the neighborhood, every day, something, get moving, get exercise, you will feel better. Maybe you all join the gym together and hit the weights, something. Join a martial arts school. I'm sure you want to punch something. You'll get plenty of punching there, anything. And day by day, and focus on your kids, and take care of those kids. Make sure those kids know that you love them no matter what, and it's not their fault. But they need to know the truth about their mothers. Speaking in words for their age range, of course. And you don't need to show the pitch. Steve, I think it's Steve. You don't need to show the picture of your wife in the bathroom. Well, I don't think you have kids. One of you doesn't have kids. I think it's Steve, whose wife has the picture of her with a dong in her mouth in the bathroom. Thank God you don't have kids. But the other two guys... No. I can't remember. There's too many names in the story. I forget who doesn't have kids. But anyhow, whoever doesn't have kids is a little bit better of a situation. But anyhow, if somebody here, if the guy here whose wife has a picture of her in the bathroom with the hot dog in her mouth, make sure the kids don't see that. But anyhow, guys, one day at a time, you're going to be all right. It's just going to take a long time. And for all that is sacred and holy, don't ever get married again. I'm sure you're all like, oh, hell no, SSM. Yeah, well, crazier things have happened. And you guys are going to be all right. You got a whole community here that are looking out for you. And please, when the time is right, give me some updates. Gentlemen, for all you guys who have been watching this long-ass story, please give these guys some support in the comment section. They need it. Just like you may have needed it if you shared your story, or might need it one day. And also tell these guys in the comment section if you would like to hear some updates. How things progress with their wives. What's going on with their wives right now when they're gone. What's going on with the attorneys. Up until the moment of truth, when the ink is dry and you're divorced and free. We want updates. Let us know. And we'll be here because there's going to be time, guys, you may be tempted to give your wives another chance. I'm sure the thought will cross one of your minds at one point. This is what you need us here for. And believe me, even think about it. I'll be smacking the shit out of you here, and I'll be happy to do it. It's a service I provide. All right, guys, as ever today, be sure to comment down below, just like I said. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.